I began running, I was 12 years old, and I loved running cross country at school.
In the beginning, when we arrived in Chamonix, we opened a music store. It was the best way for me to know everybody in the valley.
I did a lot of competition in cross-country ski, but I always keep running.
I saw the registration growing little by little. We think it was completely crazy.
In the 70s, we had here in Chamonix some guys who accomplished the Tour du Mont Blanc, and I was really interested to try to do the same thing, to this amazing thing, to run or walk all around the Mont Blanc non-stop. So I tried this in 1995. I failed, but there was something in my mind, and this thing stayed, and this thing made me discover ultra running 5 years later. And this thing is a big explanation of the creation of the UTMB, an individual non-stop race all around the Mont Blanc. And that's why I said, okay, I'm very interested by organizing such a race, but I really want also to race it.
The first year when we decided to make the race, and because I was the only one who wasn't running, they look at me and they say, okay, you stay in Chamonix and you are the race director, like that, you wait for everybody to come back. In the beginning, I tried to announce the race everywhere on all the websites I found, and I say, okay, if we are lucky, we have 300 runners, and we arrive to 300, and we say that maybe 500 will be a little bit difficult, and there were 722 on the start line.
All people here in Chamonix or in the other towns in Switzerland and Italy thought that we were crazy to imagine such a race. Yes, we thought that it could be a wonderful event, and we worked a lot for that, but the result is, I don't know how to say it in English, but it's far up of what we imagined at the beginning.
I grew up touching distance from Mont Blanc, and the fact is, when I opened the door of my house, it was always being attracted for any kind of activities. It's naturally that in winter time I went on snow and play a lot with snow. All other season was going in the mountain, walking, running. It was much more going off the track, off everything, sometimes climbing.
The inspiration of HOKA came from many sources, and obviously nature is a big part of it. Connection to the mountains, traveling through the mountains with different tools. Jean-Luc and I, also Christophe and a few other people in the team, grew up ski racing or free skiing. Adrenaline, freedom, passion. So maybe it was meant to be, but you know, like the first HOKA address, headquarters, office was here, And the UTMB trail was right here, and I'm sure it inspired us. There was this UTMB 2007 race I ran, and I did fairly well. I led the race, which is unbelievable, with 2,500 people chasing you through the night, through the day, until midday. And unfortunately, I realized that kilometer 135 that my quads were done from the pounding. I tried to charge it for 16 hours like I would charge like a ski race. And then the serious pain and trouble began. The following weeks and months were extremely difficult to recover, and we were already thinking that one day maybe it would be cool to start something together. And that's running shoes, footwear would be a good route to explore. There hadn't been much innovation.
We did use the inspiration and the learnings from many other sports to say, okay, there's something to do that probably in terms of evolution didn't touch running and trekking as it has touched other like mountain bike, like skiing, like golf, etc. So we make the shoe a reality. We are in August 2009, less than a year that HOKA exists. We went to the UTMB trade show. We know that what was critical is make people feel and test the product. We had a small booth over there, and we put some small stones and piece of branch in front of the booth. The purpose was not to tell a big blah 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 speech to make them convinced, but it was try to walk on the stones and branch with your actual shoes, then go on the seat, change the shoe, use one of the protos and repeat the same scenario on the same stones. And for anybody, it was a big wow. We end up by having 7 runners with this shoe. We had the discussion to say, are you sure? Because you prepare yourself for years, and it was unbelievable to imagine that this kind of runners switch 24 hours before the race for a new pair of shoes.
Ultimately, we were right, because this movement went.
HOKA is probably the most natural partner we can imagine, because the brand was born just here by people from Les Contamines or Annecy, just neighbors.
We know very well HOKA from a long time. HOKA born in the Mont Blanc and on UTMB, quite in the same moment than the UTMB itself. So I think it's a sign. It's a really good sign.
One thing we share with the founders of UTMB is that it's a lot about people. It's a lot about creating a very inspired community around like a passion and going step by step.
We spent 10 years to work very hard to develop UTMB Mont Blanc. We said, okay, it could be amazing to gather the best trail running races in the world in a kind of worldwide circuit, and the UTMB World Series is the second life of this. We made some mistakes. We tried some other things. It was time to rethink the whole circuit, and that's why now it's UTMB World Series.
For both HOKA or UTMB, there's this forward-thinking mindset, which is key. But all in all, it looks for me so natural that one day we connect our destiny and we continue to try to invent what could be the day after tomorrow.